So, last month was the Chinese New Year, and normally in Hong Kong we celebrate big. The whole city celebrates, and as a fellow Hong Kongese, I celebrate Chinese New Year too. But after moving to Norway, it's much harder. So, this is how I celebrate one of the biggest festivals from my own culture in a foreign country. It's a very interesting feeling to celebrate a festival that is very big in your own country, but is barely noticed here. I was really lucky. Last year I met many more new friends who share a much similar cultural background with me. And that means I've been invited to many more activities that are culturally more closer to home. So when I first arrived in Norway, I have mostly Norwegian friends, and of course when you're in a foreign country it just makes sense to celebrate their festivals. So the last few years I've been mostly celebrating Christmas, 17 Mai, and a lot of more Christians festivals, but not really any Chinese ones. After moving to Norway, the only thing that is like a non-negotiable for me is tea. It doesn't have to be a hojicha or a matcha. Sometimes I drink British, sometimes I drink Chinese, but I have to have a cup of tea. I don't know why, I'm never a coffee person. I was really shocked at first when I found out there's not a lot of Chinese here. Maybe for the first time of my life, I'm the minority. That's so weird. Because the thing is, even when I was in London or Boston, there's a lot of Chinese people, and there's so many that, you know, there's like Chinatown and many like Asian restaurants, a lot of Asian supermarket. It was just, there's so many of us that we had our own place, even though it's a foreign country, of course. And here, of course, there's a lot of immigrants too, but since like the majority of the Asians are Vietnamese, and a lot of people would come up to me and start speaking Vietnamese because they would assume I am as well, and it's just so weird. But of course, now that I finally found them and joined the circle, now I know there's Hong Kong people here just very hidden, and you have to kind of go out of your way to find them. I stalk a lot of them on Facebook. That's how I met them. Yeah. But anyways, for the first time in my 4 or 5 years in Norway, I finally get invited to Chinese New Year dinners. Isn't that exciting? Cheers! So, to celebrate Chinese New Year with my fellow Hong Kongese people, we went out to have dim sum. And for some of my closer friends, I was invited to their home to have home-cooked meals and hot pot. Obviously, there are limitations because we have to get our ingredients here locally. We have to use ingredients that is mostly from Norway. Most of the stuff we can get in Asian markets or some fancier Norwegian stores. But of course, the choices are limited and we have to make do and improvise. For example, in Hong Kong, it would be so easy to just find thinly sliced beef and pork in literally any supermarket, but here we have to do it ourselves. So you have to be creative to get what you need to celebrate. It might not be the traditional type of meal with 10 or 20 different dishes, but this is pretty amazing too. Gong Hei Fa Cai. And of course, There's no Chinese New Year without mahjong, I guess. Even though I'm not really a good player, I don't even really know how to play it, but it just kind of makes sense that it is there, even if I'm not playing it. And I don't only celebrate with Hong Kong people, of course. Last year, I've also become really close friends with 2 other girls who are Taiwanese and Malaysian. So it's really fun to celebrate Chinese New Year with them as well. We also did hot pot. Most parts are very similar. It's all about good food, wishes, the quality time together. But also there are other small things that I've never done before, but it's just really fun, like this thing.
Yeah, a lot of wishes. So it's some kind of like Malaysian Chinese New Year culture.
No, we definitely don't have that.
And I also tried something that is not traditional at all. Only doing it because I'm now in Norway. And I don't know who gave me this idea, but I just thought that, well, I should try to promote this in Norway. Telling people more about Chinese New Year. So last year, I did a few bubble waffle pop-ups at different locations. Try to educate people in Norway about this Hong Kong unique street food. And it went really well. People loved it, and I guess that's why I feel like this is kind of fun. And I wanted to do it again. This time, we did a little booth at a big mall in Norway to promote the Lunar New Year. Needless to say, a very unique experience.
Ja, det är helt gratis, bare prøve.
So we tell people about Lunar New Year and help them write some fiction at the booth. It's just a small gesture of celebration. And sometimes I have my mom on FaceTime with me as well, just because, I mean, it's New Year, so of course we talk. It's actually quite interesting and fun to describe the culture to people who know nothing about it. And it is also a surprise when they actually know something about it. That's kind of fun. A lot of the people are very open and they are very curious about our culture. They want to try their best to even like write Chinese and stuff. I have a lot of customers who try to write different things, so it's very interesting. See? So, some of you might be curious, where did I get all this stuff that I need, like ink and red paper, those kind of things, because they're not Norwegian, you can't find them here. You definitely need to plan ahead a lot because you can't just get things from the store easily, from like shopping mall or like boutiques. Definitely very different from what we experience in Hong Kong. For example, these red papers, it's super easy to find in Hong Kong. All the store will be selling it. A lot of the store will even give away free ones with different design, different patterns, different type of wishing words on it. But I can't get any here. I have to order all the way from Hong Kong or China. And it would take maybe like 2 months to arrive. And so that's a long process, and you need to remember to like order the things that you need like much earlier. Anything unexpected from this event? Definitely yes. Because Chinese New Year is not really celebrated here, so a lot of the things that I feel like, oh, it's common sense, then they would need a lot of explaining. But luckily a lot of them are very open to new things. They're very positive about this. And I realize a lot of the things that I think is very obvious is hard to explain actually. Like for example, how do I explain Sun Lei, Peng An? I couldn't find a really accurate English word for it to explain to the foreigners. For me, it's like the concept is very clear. We say Gong Hei Fa Cai, we say Peng An Sun Lei. It's a concept that we are very clear and we know what we're talking about. But if I have to explain it to a foreigner who never had this concept before, I find that sometimes it's hard to find the exact wordings. And after 2-3 days of having this booth, I finally find some better comparison of what the Chinese and Norwegian words are. And then I made this. First, Peng An, I wrote, after discussing with my husband, we wrote Sikkerhet, which means like security. So that is like you have like social security your job security, so like you won't have any accident. That's what we think ping on means in translation. I mean, I know ping on means more than that, but like in translation, that's what we came up with. And then after explaining to some of the customer, we find out that no troubles may be better. And honestly, I don't really know how to explain that. That's just the way it is. Also, this somehow becomes a super good opportunity for me to practice my Norwegian. There's a lot of people who are interested in this concept come, and I have to explain everything in Norwegian, and they ask many different questions, obviously because they don't know much about this tradition or this culture, so they will be curious and they compare about Norwegian culture or like what they know, like Japanese, because this is like a booth, so it's more like a socializing thing instead of like just selling and stuff. Especially the experience is free, so a lot of people will be very talkative, and I have to try my best to say Norwegian, and oh my god, that is hard, and I don't think I've ever spoken that much Norwegian before. That was fun though, and it's very good practice, really good for me. So this is how I celebrated Chinese New Year this year. It was such a good New Year, and I had so much fun sharing this with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and comment down below, what do you guys think? What would you guys do if you're also in a foreign country? Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!